Hi everyone, myself Venkat. Good morning and good evening to everyone. The Reliant Vision, it is not only providing the service, we are providing the product as well. It started at 2016 and providing the digital transformation, cloud technologies, digital biometrics, product business services, and we have own products called some timesheet related and epic smart equipment, employee placement management, career fetching. These all products are there. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yeah, we are able to go ahead.
Yeah. Now I'm going to start the session on Angular. It is a web application framework to use on the build the single page application. Here single page application nothing but nowadays there are a lot of pages available in the every website. So we as a memory consuming we are providing that in using Angular we can display entire thing into single page. So remaining will be in the memory always. So memory will be decreased. So now agenda is like introduction to Angular, and we have several versions in Angular. Angular 2 is the latest version. How to set up and why Angular. As I mentioned that the Angular JS is a very powerful JavaScript framework to build your own web application. It is a library written in JavaScript, and its most advantage is single page application. To overburden on the browser, to memory increase, all those things we will use the single page applications. It is open source and completely free. It is maintained by Google, and we have thousands of developers around in the world for forms. So what are the difference between versions? Language.js is a powerful JavaScript framework. It helps to create a great user experience web apps. Angular 2 is completely rewrite of Angular 1 and future of Angular. You don't need to worry of learning the Angular.js. Just concentrate on Angular 2. Now Angular 4 is the latest version upgrade of Angular 2. As I mentioned, it was announced in the 2016 and next versions of Google massively popular MVC framework to build the complex applications in the browser. Angular 2 comes with almost everything you need to build completely front-end web applications for mobiles or desktops or some frameworks using the templates to fast rendering in the management. It have a HTTP services to handle the backend services to fetch the data or save the data, whatever it is. So it helps the services that are HTTP services. So coming to that Angular features, there are components are available. These components nothing but controller. We can say that focus on the components or the controller helps to build the application into many modules. Like we can separate the modularity using the components. It mainly uses on the TypeScript. This is the new version of Angular TypeScript. It is developed by Microsoft. It is a JavaScript and it have the feature of services. As I mentioned that to come render the data or connect with the backend services, we have a services that different components can be used to communicate for the services. For example, if you had a data component that pick data from the database, you could have it to share services that could be used across the multiple applications. Better event handling availability, powerful templates, better support for mobile devices. These are the features of Angular 2. So coming to the components, there are modules, templates, metadata, services are available. What is a module? Used to break up the application into logical pieces of code. Each piece of code or module is designed to perform a single task. Like in real world, there is an employee. So we can say there is employee is a one module. Inside that we can go ahead with that different details to get it. Like employee with register or employee with login or employee with update the details. So these are three modules. So we can say in the logically login employee or create employee or update employee. These are the three modules. We can use that module's name. Now coming to the component, this component can be bring the modules together. So to communicate with different modules, how can we communicate using the component? We can do that. And coming to the templates, this is this use different views in the Angular application. Like how can the website look like? What is the CSS we need to use? What is the HTML? What are the buttons or what are the colors to design your application? Those are called as templates. We can use those. And metadata. This is more data about the AngularJS classes. And coming to the services, this is as I mentioned that to create or share across the entire application and connect with the backend services. Any doubts till now? Those are the concepts of AngularJS. Now coming to the Angular 2 environment, we should install the npm, that is called Node Package Manager, that is used to work with open source repositories. Means already like there are templates or we call it as a modules or it is a repositories. npm Node Package Manager having all those who are the users created that will be publicly maintained in the npm repository. So those can be easily we can import into our application. That's why we need to use the npm. AngularJS framework has dependencies on other components. So we can say this has the dependencies, other components, whatever required. Let's take example of suppose you want to render a calendar in your application. So to build a calendar your own self, it is may have the lot of time to consume that. So instead of that, there are several modules or npm packages already available on the calendar component. We can easily use those things. Similarly, buttons or color pickers, whatever. Those can be available in the npm. That's why we need to use as a npm in the environment to develop AngularJS. npm can be used to download those dependencies and attach them to your project. And coming to that Git. So this is a source code repository. Generally nowadays, all members will be use this Git to commit your code and maintain in the repositories. We can have the sample projects on Angular. You in the GitHub, there are several samples. You can use that by simply using the Git software. And editors mainly to write the code in Angular. There are several editors are there. Mainly Visual Studio is the free version of Microsoft, so we can use those things. Or otherwise, whatever the web applications currently tools you are using editor, those can be used. So Visual Studio will have the lot of extensions to work with Angular easily, like running, creating application, all those things. Installation plugins available in the Visual Studio. That's why most of the people will use is Visual Studio. As I mentioned that we can directly clone the whatever the available demos in the AngularJS, directly we can clone it. Or else we have a separate module called CLI, command line interface. By using that, you can create your scratch project by using simple commands in the AngularJS. Let's go to the particular CLI commands what are available. So these are the commands. CLI tool is used to initialize, develop, scaffold, and maintain the Angular applications. CLI can be used to create AngularJS application. It also help in creating unit and end-to-end test cases for the application. For this, first you need to install the Node.js. Just we need to download that. If you are using the Windows applications, there is a exe called in the Node.js. Just we need to install it. Along with that, it will give the npm set of commands. So after you install the Node.js, just we need to run this npm install g angular CLI because we need to use the Angular related command line interfaces. So we need to just import, or we can say that is an installation of your local to the Angular. Once it is ready, We can run the command like ng, angular ng new. What is your project name? That can be used here. So here my use the my project. And to run that, what is the command? That is ng serve. We need to go to inside the whatever the project you created. Then you need to run the ng serve command there. We can show that examples in later. So there is a we need to generally Angular versions are updating frequently. So we need to update the Node.js as well, update the npm as well, and update the Angular CLI. So these are the commands you need to run it in your local. Sometimes there is a problems in the npm. We need to cache clear that using the npm cache clean, and we need to reinstall the Angular CLI. So modules used in AngularJS, logical boundaries in your application. Like whatever the logic in your application that comes under the module. As I mentioned earlier, like employee registration, creation, updation, these are the modules. So logic behind that creation of all module creation will be there. Update module will be having the only update related. Login module might be having the login related things. Everything into separate module is a separate functionality of your application. Are you able to see my screen? So this is the application which I created locally. As I mentioned that using the, I will run that commands. So I will go for practically. So just to have the command git already installed in my local. Suppose let's take test. It will create the required files related to Angular to run in a web browser. So default structure like skeleton, we can say that it have the skeleton. So whichever already I created, that is this is that like this is the folder structure. There is a src will be there. So whatever the sources we are going to write that is under the src folder, and there are package files are there. It's nothing but whatever the project dependencies you want to use in your application, those can be defined here. This is the npm modules actually. So by default, they will give Angular related modules like animation is the one module, common, compiler, core. These are the modules and these are the versions of module. So we can run these using npm install particular module name. It will automatically come to the package.json and it will install the under node modules. So this is default skeleton. If you see this src, there is a single page that is index.html. It always in our body always it renders the particular component only at a time. So now if you see this, there is no code inside the HTML, only that app root is there. So this tag or this dev, we can say that some file is there, that code will be rendered inside this tags, begin and end tags. And by default, it will providing the width, device width and scales as well. So no need to worry about the your project like scaling. Under this src, there is a assets. Lots of you want to use some templates like images, colors, whatever it is there. Those can be placed under assets. And coming to the app folder, there is a one HTML. As I mentioned that earlier, we are using the TypeScript, that is .ts file, TypeScript. So one TS file, one HTML for view purpose, and this is the actual JavaScript framework that we need to write here. and module will be there. What are the models you are using and inside this HTML, we need to mention those things, and CSS. So CSS will contain whatever the application related styling components will be available here. So module, as I mentioned, module by default, this is the skeleton. Currently, it is using imports and declarations, providers, bootstrap. So this is the bootstrap in the PowerPoint. If we go to the PowerPoint presentation, they mentioned the bootstrap array. Used to tell AngularJS which component needs to be loaded so that functionality can be accessed in the application. So what are the applications or what are the modules you want to use? Those needs to be mentioned in the bootstrap array. So that is it. This. So now I'm have only one component, that is my app component. So I'm saying this bootstrap needs to be come from the app component. And export array, this is used to export component directives, pipes which can be used in the other modules. As you see in this export, here export will be there. By default it is not coming, but whatever the components you want to reusing those components, we can use that. Import array is the import can be used to import functions from other JS modules. Here import browser module. It actually displays in the browser. That's why this module is coming from here. This is a module. And coming to the actual TypeScript, that is app component.ts. So we need to mention what is the logic this is. So here my project is that just I'm saying that selector is app root. If you observe this where we are mentioned in the index.html. So this is the tag, nothing but whatever the logic or whatever the code reside in this app root, it will come and it will place it in the div. Why? Because of we declared here that is a selector. So inside this JS file, whatever you written, that will come to the particular index.html. Similarly, we can create several components and we can run, and it will automatically take care single page application with replacing that tag with another application. So coming to the structure wise, if you observe that whatever the folder structure, app and one component, that is with HTML, CSS and TS, that is TypeScript. By default module will be there. So as I mentioned, that consists of components class, Java class or C++ class, whatever it is there. If you see the code, TS file, this is the class export class app component. We are saying this, we are exporting this app component to the particular wherever you are using, just simply refer this app component. And metadata, these to extend functionalities. Template HTML view, that is nothing but this is the HTML class. Here they written that something welcome file with something. So we can see that how it will print. Each module will be made up of modules. Angular application needs to have a Angular root module. As I mentioned that root module nothing but here. This is that app root. So particularly this HTML will be loaded on the web page and whatever the JS file gives that will be rendered here. Template class and metadata. So this is a class structure and metadata template kind of thing. Live examples, I will show you that. So this is that when I run that previous created application, this is that. Simply it will render that what is the content inside the our TS file. If you see this is HTML. I'm saying that starting editing something magic open here. So that will come. And this is the dynamic name which is coming from the TS file. Here I'm giving that Angular with version. So hello Angular version. It will print like this. And this is a several, you can go through the articles of Angular IO. We can directly write our code here and we can test it using the some Stack Blitz or some other tools are there directly without Visual Studio. This is an example of one more application. If I add one, then it will do one. Simple application. Here also, if you see this component and button, and what is the extra export class of this one. There are several modules available. You can click on docs and you can see that whatever the tutorials available here to understand more. Based upon your documentation, you need to work on that. It is maintained by Google actually. Every day they will document everything, whatever you want. So there are several examples as well. You can refer the TypeScript related thing as well. Any question and answers? That's all from my side. See, if you want, we can see that some examples like live demos are there. If you see here, what is the commands it's running, you can easily verify that it is trying to install the modules by using the npm install. After that, it will run the server by using the ngserve. It will load once that is installed dependencies. See, ngserve is now running. Still, it is running by generating the browser application. Yeah. So this is an example for like how the paragraphs will be there and how the triggers will be there. If I click on here, then it will show the hello world. And this is the color example. Now, if I want to make the text editable, then if I click on here, if you see this, we can edit anything here. Make text editable again. Log me. So these are the examples here. If you see this, everything like this is the component, this is the component. As I mentioned that module wise, we need to have the component differently. This is allow world component, allow world. If you see this, there is a component TS file. So this is my first paragraph component. So that is coming from here to up to this is the one component. Main syntax of this is, as I mentioned, that component is imported from the Angular core and it will render whatever the template you given that will be sent to the browser based upon the selector. Here hello world is a selector. Where hello world is a selector is there? Might be you can see that in the app root. So app root nothing but here app component the HTML. So hello world here is the this is the component. Here it will render whatever the text or whatever the data that will comes under this, it will render here. Here interpolation, this is the another component that is coming from might be here. So button thing like trigger the alerts, and when we click on it, so button related messages, all those things will come. Another component with open console output. Okay, and for this is for update the text like make a text editable, and this is for paragraph thing. Like this, there are several examples. We can go for Angular to do application. This is app component related example. Here actually we are using services that as I mentioned that message service here, example of message service. So he might created the service under these messages. If you see this is the component of that particular thing. Just we are saying that here message to print the message, we are using message model. Here heroes are there. Like just this is application about to display the list of names, and we can add or delete that particular name. We called it as a hero here, and we can search that, and we can print the details. We can verify this in the output. So these are the models. We can say that, as I mentioned that simple example employee related same thing. They are taking here heroes with the message is one model, and hero search is one model, hero details is one model, and main dashboard is another model. All will comes under the single HTML that is here app root. So app will be maintained that using here. So if you see this, so there is a two navigations dashboard and heroes, and root outlet and app message. Like router is the one more concept in the Angular. That is nothing but if you want to switch between the pages, they have given the routers routes. So this is the example of application. If you see here, tools of heroes with two buttons, that is menu. We can call it as a menu. That's why dashboard and heroes is a two different models. When you see here, dashboard, heroes is another model. So when we click on this one, that model will be load. Here, just list of just the names, top heroes, list of names. And here one more model for searching that particular text. That is here, hero search model is there. This job will be done by this model. And the details is like this. If we click on here, the details model will become means particular hero details. like what is hero name and ID of that particular. We can do update or we can do anything. Save and go back to that. It's loading. Now coming to here, see this. This is updated. I can search only that particular thing. Reliant. See, this automatically goes to the details of particular hero. Again, we can do update or anything. Go back to that or dashboard. Here messages here nothing but whatever the action you are doing. So here just fetching the heroes, fetching the hero ID. These are messages which we are printing using this model, that is messages service model. We see this is the model. Just whatever the operations we are doing, that just it is printing in the under this one. So that's why here clear button is there to let and messages whatever there, then we are doing. If you go to that hero details, there's what we are doing here, just saving and updating, right? This is the saving. So saving what it will do. So this is HTML and where will be their code, actual code is in the TypeScript file. So in the save button, so see this save button, what I'm saying is this hero, whatever the saved object, just updating it and get back to the particular dashboard. And it will save into the messages using the subscribe and publish methods. That is different concept. That is like there is a provider will be available. Using that provider, we can subscribe or publish your message whatever you want. We can go for another. I will change with this. After saving this, it will go to by code. If you see this code, it will go to the particular dashboard. Means automatically go back will call. Searching also we can see that how it is doing the searching. So this is search results. So it's results based upon that. So what it will do in the JS file, this will says the next item, and if it is found, then it will go to the hero service that sets. So it will go to here. So these are the heroes model. Here a list of heroes are there. We can add or we can delete that. I'm going to delete all those things. Let's see. And we can add one thing. Simple thing. This is maintained by single page application, means every time we can see one page itself and we can do easily operations, dynamically update the values, whatever you enter. No need to go for pages. So those all things will be, that is the main advantage of AngularJS. You can go to dashboard and here if you see that automatically it will updates the component, whatever previously done that, all those things will be automatically updated here. I hope everyone got my points. Um, any question and answers? In case no questions, I hope we can might be wrap up the class.
Yeah, thank you, Venkat. Thank you very much. And thank you one and all for attending the webinar. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a
Thank
nice day.
you.